Ah, commercials, the biggest double-edged sword in all of history. On the one hand, they're corporate, they're exploitative, and oftentimes they're quite boring. On the other hand though, some ads go above and beyond, become some of the most amazing things ever, transcending reality and slipping into the realm of legend. Today, I'm going to be looking at a few different Godzilla commercials, or rather just ads featuring either Godzilla himself or some knockoff clearly paying homage to him, most if not all of which I found at a very young age, so this might be exposing some childhood memories. Gen Z's great, ain't it? When this counts as nostalgic. Now, I did wrestle with myself over whether I wanted to make this video or not, because believe it or not, someone did get to this idea before I could. Another reviewer, a guy named Corrupt Nostalgia, actually made a video very similar to this a while back, so is it really worth me treading the same ground just to get a little extra content for my channel? Well, yeah, I think so. We're two different people at the end of the day, and if multiple people can give different perspectives on the same subject, I think that means whatever came second is justified in its existence, so let's do just that. Let's roll the commercials. The first commercial we're looking at is, this one. I didn't really research a lot about any of these ads because for this video, I just thought it was more fun that way. Anyway, we see this very googly-eyed Godzilla tearing up downtown somewhere. I mean, really, people say the Showa Godzilla looked too Cookie Monstery, but I think this Muppety bastard definitely gives him a run for his money. Honestly, the suit's construction doesn't look too bad, and the miniatures actually look pretty good for a silly little commercial. But this commercial really makes its mark when Godzilla picks up this lady in a red dress and finds... You know, I'm not really sure what Godzilla's endgame here was. What exactly would have played out differently if this person was more of what they seemed? He's a giant monster and they're a regular-sized human. What was he gonna do with them? Maybe it's for the best that he pulled the wig off. That being said, I mean, I personally would have stayed after the wink. Like, I get the initial confusion, initially being taken aback by all this, but after the wink, it's kinda any port in a storm at that point. Of course, as I said before, I don't know of a port that could even dock Godzilla's massive ship, so maybe this was doomed to fail. But all this is sort of trivial compared to the real question at hand here, which is just what the hell is this advertising? Well, I'll tell you. It's licorice. Yep, doesn't that just make this product so much more appealing? Bet these things just flew off the shelves after the public was exposed to this masterpiece. This is a classic. It's actually one of the more recent commercials we're watching, but most people know and love this ad. Ironically, of course, probably because of nonsense like this. There's not much else to say here though, it's just a Godzilla Snickers commercial. What you see is pretty much what you get. But when what you get is a Snickers commercial featuring Godzilla, can't be that bad, can it? Another commercial made for the 2014 G film, this Fiat commercial I actually think is pretty goofy, even in comparison to the Snickers ad. First off, it's crazy how good this looks for a friggin' car commercial. Like, this CGI is on par with that of the film it's advertising. Either way, it's kinda odd how the ad features Godzilla just nonchalantly eating cars, as if that's something he typically does. I don't really know what Godzilla eats exactly, but on the list of things I feel like he doesn't, cars have got to be near the top. Anyway, he tries eating this one car, then spits it out because Fiat, they're bigger than they look, or whatever. Oh, by the way, thanks for that, guys. I really need to know that for sure. Seriously, how stupid do they think people are? Alright, now we got some Dr. Pepper commercials made to coincide with the American release of The Return of Godzilla, or as it was called in the States, Godzilla 1985. Now, I mentioned that the Fiat commercial impressed me with how closely it resembled the movie it was tied to in regards to the effects quality. Here, that's not the case. Godzilla looks like he's made out of paper mache, but I guess that's sort of the point. Still, these ads are weird, with the first one involving Godzilla's rampage being stopped by a delicious can of Dr. P. I'll never call it that again as long as I live, I swear. And the second ad featuring a female Godzilla-like creature, one of several throughout the franchise, but this one has the unique distinction of being won over by a cup of Diet Dr. Pepper. It couldn't be the regular stuff, since that's too unhealthy, and in the immortal words of Peter Griffin,
Lois, men aren't fat, only fat women are fat.
Well said. Next up, we've got some animated ones. First, here's a commercial that I would have sworn was a Got Milk commercial. Yeah, you remember those from back in the day, right? Or maybe you don't, whatever, I don't either. Well, apparently this ad isn't for that, but rather something else called Must Drink More Milk, which I'm guessing is something similar, maybe? Same concept either way, showing that unless you're drinking copious amounts of cow juice, you're a fucking loser and you can't do anything and you'll never be able to destroy the city like you used to. Just like Godzilla here, or rather this bargain bin bootleg version of the character. Genuinely though, I do find this commercial to be kind of funny. It almost reminds me of a Robot Chicken sketch, though that's probably because of the stop motion alone. Here's another wacky one that seems like it's advertising a cinder block. I'm not even sure if it's an official commercial or if it's just some shit someone made that they, for whatever reason, decided to frame like an advertisement. It certainly seems like an ad, and when I looked up the product it appeared to be advertising, it did turn out to be real, but this just has old internet animation written all over it. Case in point, these sound effects, which are, no exaggeration, the most generic monster and creature sounds I have ever heard. I didn't even know this was a contest that could be won, but I think this commercial might have done it. Well, actually this might lend credence to this being a real ad. If this was just something someone made for fun back in 2009, they probably would have just used the actual sounds. Alright, I think most people know about this one. Godzilla vs. Charles Barkley is one of the most notoriously absurd premises to ever be devised, and while we didn't get a movie out of it, a la Michael Jordan Meets the Looney Tunes, we did get this ad, and here's a fun fact. Apparently this ad was so epic, it got its own trailer. I've never heard of that happening outside of this one instance. An ad getting its own ad. That's like... Yeah, just fucking read it. Anyway, the fact that this trailer exists is pretty awesome, but it also sucks because it contains straight up fibs.
He's defeated King Kong.
No he didn't, you fucking liar. You watched the movie, didn't you? Actually, maybe you didn't. Can't say I blame you. I mean, who the fuck actually watches these movies, right? Man, I ain't watching into that shit. Shit's fucking boring. Ain't nobody got time for that, am I right? Am I right? I'm not right. Please actually watch these movies. As for the commercial itself, I mean, there's only so much for me to say. It's Godzilla fighting a giant Charles Barkley in a game of fucking basketball. I guess I could question how Charles Barkley grew to such a size and why there's even a giant-sized basketball hoop in the middle of the city, but who really cares about any of that? It's a silly commercial featuring a beloved pop culture icon. Nothing more, and certainly nothing to base anything more on it, right? Right? Oh Christ, this one is a friggin' doozy. I still don't know entirely how to feel about it, but let's just get into it. So we start with this Godzilla-looking creature apparently tearing up a city. Pretty standard stuff so far, but even here some of this already seems off. First of all, why does this creature have braces? Some people have made the joke that it kinda looks like Manila during his awkward teenage years, and yeah, I can buy that, but I almost feel like even Manila would laugh at this thing. And I mean, if he's supposed to be Manila, then why does he have a nose horn? Is that like the Godzilla species equivalent of acne? On a positive note, while the design looks like balls, I can at least say that the suit quality isn't that bad, with a fully articulated head and everything. Certainly better than Pepper Goji, as it's been affectionately named. But getting back to what makes this commercial weird as hell, listen to the music. Don't recognize it? Well, how about now? Yep, that's the train music from the first Mission Impossible movie. What makes this extra funny to me is that I saw this ad well before watching the first Mission Impossible, and when I finally did and got to this part in it, all I could think of in the back of my head was, that's the music from the fucking Godzilla commercial. But okay, what's actually going on here? Well, as said, this thing is tearing the city up, but he can't breathe his fire, so he storms away and finds a gas pump. And then he drinks it and fires his breath, which then rockets him into space. What was the point of summing that up? I feel like it makes even less sense after doing so. I mean, it's just... Just what the shit? Like, everything about this ad is weird or wrong on some level. Just the little things about it that perplex me. Why are these footsteps so poorly mixed? Why does the music randomly cut out at certain points? What is this music in particular even doing in this commercial? Why does the creature here have braces? Whose decision was that? What was the conceptual history behind this commercial? Was there any? When and where is this from exactly? There's what looks like a Thai flag here, so I guess it's from there. And the YouTube upload I watched is from 2014, but I definitely remember seeing it before that. Come to think of it, just what the hell is this even an advertisement for? I still haven't figured it out. And what Thai ad executive at some point in the last however many years was high enough on whatever is over there that they thought this would be a good outlet to sell whatever it is they're selling? Everything in this commercial just leaves you asking the same questions. Why? What? Who? When? How? And most importantly of all, why? Again. This is the winner. I know it wasn't a competition, but there's so much packed into a minute and 14 seconds. Yes, a minute and 14 seconds. Not just like 30 seconds like most commercials, but instead a full minute and 14 seconds. That if I was to rank all of the ads we watched together here, this one would have to come out on top. Everything is wrong in all the best ways possible. And honestly, that can be said for just about all these ads. What am I watching? What were they thinking? And so on and so forth. But they nevertheless do manage to be interesting curiosities in their own ways. The only bad thing about these is that, as commercials, I really have no idea how successful they'd actually be. How does this make me want to buy licorice? I guess in case of emergency cross-dresser encounters, make sure to bring your Venko. What about this ad makes Diet Dr. Pepper appealing? Do you seriously think that's all it'll take to woo over the ladies? Hell, I wish it was that easy. I can't even tell you what the fuck this is supposed to be selling. Maybe gasoline, but not sure I want my fuel to rocket me into Earth's orbit. So maybe it's for the best that these commercials found their way onto YouTube of all places. Now we can see them for the comedic masterpieces they are, instead of worrying about what they're actually trying to sell us. Anyways, stay tuned for the next review. I'm gonna go out and buy some licorice, and then fly into space. Oh, and I'll make sure to bring plenty of milk as well. And Dr. Pepper. And Diet Dr. Pepper for Milady. Just kidding. There's no Milady. Alright, I think my brain cells need a rest after these, so see ya.